Hello all and welcome to our Crochet Designs. My name is Mary, coming to you with, get excited guys, part 1 of our Hexagon cardigan today. She's screaming guys, she's screaming because we waited a long time for this guys. We have waited so long for this. All right, so as you can see, this jacket here, it's not complete, you know, it still has, oh, this one's missing half an arm, but it's still not complete. The front is kind of semi-complete. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do with that, whether I change it a little bit, whether I tighten it up a little, not really sure. But we're not worried about that now. All we're worried about today is getting started on our little square that you see right there. Hexagon, it's not a square. A square has 4 sides. Hexagon has 6 sides. Remember that when you're creating, yeah? So we are going to be making our Hexagon cardigan today. This is very exciting. Now, you're probably wondering, what yarn are you using? Da-da-da-da, this, da-da-da-da, that. Don't even have to worry about that because we are creating our Hexi cardigan to suit your size, your personal size. Way too exciting. However, I have put up a little few sizes for those of you who don't know how to do the math side of it all. The math is very simple. All you're doing is measuring your arm for one size and then adding 8 centimeters. Then you're measuring your chest for one size, you're adding 8 centimeters. Problem solved. That is it for the maths. I make it sound a little difficult when I'm talking about it, but it's actually that simple, just to let you know, right? All right, so moving right along, what yarn do you want to use? Whatever you want. Whatever. If you are working on your size, use 8 ply, DK weight, 3 weight, 10 ply, Aran weight, 4 weight, chunky yarn, extra thin, whatever it is, cotton, wool. This is cotton and this is wool. So I did them, and they're both different sizes. So I did them in 2 different textured yarns. It's not the same thing, by the way. It's 2 different pieces, yeah. And I decided that way it gives you the option to decide what yarn you would like to use. It's way too exciting, way too exciting. The only problem is I can't give you the amounts of yarn you need for your sizing, right? Because I don't know what yarn you're using. However, I'm going to give you the rough amount that I used on an 8 ply or a DK weight or a 3 weight yarn. For my size, we won't even go there. Let's just say between 1,000 grams and 2,000 grams. Those are the measurements between size extra small to 5 extra large, not 2 extra large. So these are rough measurements. That's a rough measurement, yeah? But that's the only reason I'm saying that is because you're all going to be making yours in a different textured yarn. However, if you find you don't have all that amount in one color or even in the 2 colors, you can change colors as you go. Now I made this style exactly the same way I'm making our style right there. All right, it's exactly the same. It looks a little different because there's more rows in front than there is here because it's nearly finished. Yeah, well that one, the front is actually done. Like I said, I may tighten it up a little bit. It stretches a little there, so I may actually use a single crochet round to tighten that up. I haven't decided yet. The thread is still attached, and if you look down there, which I'm not going to show you, there's like 50 million threads attached down there. One on the arm, one on the other arm, one on the base of the jacket. We won't go there, right? Well, cardigan, if you will. All right, so that's pretty much that. All you will need is the hook size to suit your yarn. Now I'm using a DK weight or a 3 weight or an 8 ply, which means I'm going to use a 4mm hook. Entirely up to you. You will need scissors today. You may need that sewing needle if you're going to go a little bit further, which you have to go further because that's the notification I left you towards the end of this tutorial. But by the end of this tutorial, you will have just this part here done. All right, that first bit done. And then I tell you how to change your color. And then I say head off on your own and do a certain amount of rows to suit your measurements. Way too exciting. That measurement that you need to focus on is your widest circumference of your arm measurement plus 8 centimeters. That's it. That is all it is. Okay, and we're going to do a measurement thing here in the middle of the video so that you can see the measurements. All right, that's it, guys. That's all I want to say about that. Let's head over to the workstation and get started creating our beautiful hexagon cardigan. We're going to start off by making a slip knot. Grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, holding it there, holding it down there. Pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there. Pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in and give everything a tug. Now, you could have left a longer tail. Either way, we're crocheting over it, but we're also going to weave that in as well. Don't think that's the end of it, yeah? A lot of people don't weave in and then they have trouble later. All right, and we are chaining, and a chain is yarn over our hook, pull a loop through, once, yarn over, 2, 3, and 4. So chain your 4, and now we're going to slip stitch into that very first loop that we made, which is there. Yep. Pull your loop through like so, and just lift everything up, and notice how I'm giving it a tug, and that little space is where we're going to crochet into, but continue to pull that loop through. And see that little space there? That's where we're going into. So you chain 1, 2 and 3. We'll add a stitch marker in a minute, but not now. I'm just going to pop a double crochet US treble UK in that space before it closes up. You don't want that to close up. It'll open up in a minute. Yeah, so yarn over your hook, pop your hook in the space. All right, not in that top stitch that you saw there, in the whole space. Pull a loop through like so, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now this is where you can grab your stitch marker. Now if you are new to crochet, I would suggest using stitch markers or a piece of thread or a paper clip, whatever you have in stock. All right, that stitch that we just did there was the very last stitch we did, but we want to pop our stitch marker in the chain, the top of the chain that we made, the chains that we made before. All right, so the top 2 loops there of that chain 3 there. All right, and right next to it is the stitch, the first double crochet stitch that we made. All right, and now we're going to put another double crochet in there. So you'll yarn over your hook into the space, pull a loop through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops left, yarn over, pull through the last 2, double crochet US or a treble UK. Now you've got this chain 3 will act as a double crochet in this round and every other round afterwards. So you've got 1, 2 and 3 already. Then you're chaining 2, 1 and 2. And now in the same space you're doing a set of 3, or the terminology that I use, a cluster set. All right, so 3 double crochets in there, or a cluster set in there. And I'm crocheting over my tail. Forgot to mention, guys, crochet over this tail. You know what, I'll do a close-up. Let's get nice and close so you can see what's happening. So I've done 2 already, yep, and do a third one. All right, so you've got 3, chain 2, 3, chain 1 and 2, and another 3. Whoops, 3. Let's try that again. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2, 1 and 2. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3. We need to do 6. Okay, so chain 2, do another set, which is your 1, 2, 3, and 4th. This is your 4th set. Chain 1 and 2, and do another set in the space, crocheting over the tail, getting a little bit packed, but that's normal. It's filling up. 2 and 3, chain 1 and 2, and from here we're going to do one more set, the last set. Yarn over your hook in the space and do 3 double crochets over the tail like so. Chain 1 and 2, grab your tail and pass it at the back. All right, and now you're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch that you popped your stitch marker in. Yeah, so slip stitch in there, and that will actually join your hexagon, if I can get it in there. It's really tight, my stitching, but that's okay. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Remove that stitch marker, and there you go. All right, so from here we're going to chain one, turn our work, slip stitch into the space, the corner space, yeah, and chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. Grab a stitch marker and pop it in the top 2 loops of that stitch there. You'll have 1 on the base and 2 on the top. Did I split the yarn? Sure looks like I split that yarn. Don't split your yarn, guys. That's better. Okay, and there you go. Now we are going to put 2 double crochets in the corner. So off we go, putting our 2 double crochets in the corner. So at this stage we are working on the wrong side of our work. Actually, that might pay, if you're new to crochet, to pop a different colour stitch marker in the front of one of these stitches. You can do it around a stitch. Don't do it in a corner because you need the corner. So maybe just do it around. I'm going to fix it up later. No. Do it around a stitch and not the corner. Alright, because there's your corner and you're going to need to be in that corner. Alright, so let's just continue what we're doing. This is the wrong side of your work. And in actual fact, what you could do is leave the tail here until later. And I'll explain that later. Alright, so now all we're going to do, we're not going to fill up this corner with a corner. We're going to jump into the next corner. We're not chaining. We've just got our yarn over our hook into the next corner with 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. We're going to complete the corner, chain 1, 2 and do another 3 double crochets in the corner, and that's how we're going to be doing our corners all the way throughout our hexagon cardigan. All right, from here we're going to jump into the very next corner with a corner cluster set. Yarn over our hook into the corner with your corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochets. All right, this round is pretty much that. Going into every corner, putting in a corner cluster set. All right, so jump into your next corner, no chaining in between corners. Just go into the corners and do your corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Oops, nearly knocked the frame off there, guys. That's happened many times before. Now you're going into the very next corner with your 3 double crochets or corner cluster set, if you will. Chain 1 and 2 and 3 double crochets. It's a super easy round, this one. You might find that blue stitch marker that I've just put in your way. If you know the right side of your work and wrong side, that's fine. All right, from here we're jumping into the corner before this corner. All right, we're going into our very next corner, which is our last corner. 1, 2, 3, kind of our last corner, chain 1 and 2. Because we have to finish off that very first corner that we started with. Complete this same corner that you are in first before you do anything, and I'll show you in a minute what you've done. What we need to do is go into that corner space and do 3 double crochets and a chain 2, and off we go into the space with 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker. And again, hopefully yours isn't too tight. Like so. Remove your stitch marker for a moment, chain 1, hold it there for 1 minute so I can show you what you've done. All right, so what you have now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners. Make sure you have 6 corners in every round. Now the next round you're going to have your 6 corners, but you're also going to have sides to complete as well. All right, so what we did here was we chained 1, yep. Now we're going to turn our work. Now we're working on the right side of our work. Slip stitch into the corner, like so. Pull a loop through, chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now, the best part about this round is it's kind of like a repeat round. When I say kind of, I'll explain that to you at the end of this round. Now we're going to place 2 double crochets in the corner like we did before with the first corner. 1 and 2. And now we have spaces before our corners. In those spaces you are putting 1 cluster set of 3 double crochets. Off you go. 1, 2 and 3. Remember, there's no chaining when we come out of the corner or before we go into a corner. All right, but when we get in the corner, which is the next corner we're in, we're going to do our corner cluster set of 3 double crochets, chain 2, 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. Our basic round, this one again. All you have to remember to do in this round is the extra cluster set in every side space. Your corners will have your corner cluster sets and your side space will have a side space set, if you want to call it that, and there's no chaining in between this area, so you just do your normal 1 set of 3 double crochets in a side space and a set of corner cluster sets in every corner. Such an easy round, yeah? 2, 3, chain 1 and 2, and 1, 2 and 3. Jump into the space that you're coming up to, the side space, with 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Into the corner with your corner set of my yarn's caught, sorry guys, again. 3 double crochets. Oops, I just split some yarn there. Try that again. 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and 3 double crochets. All right, it's a super easy round. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the video on fast. So if you want to slow your video down, you can. I'm going to pop it on fast and get to the space before that stitch marker, and then we'll come back. All right, so I'll pop it on fast and off we go into the next space with 1 set. Alrighty guys, I'm in the very last set before the corner. Okay, So I'm going to pop in my 3 double crochets only. Remember, there was no chaining in between cluster sets, just in the corner. All right, and my yarn kept getting caught, guys. All right, so we've done one corner, one side, corner, side, corner, side, corner, side, corner, side, corner, side. Now we're going to pop into the very last corner, or it should say the first one that we started with, and finish it off with 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and 2, and once again slip stitching to join, like that. Chain 1. I'm going to pop that stitch marker in there and show you what you've done. All right, so you may notice this happening, turning up like that. Don't think that's wrong, that is normal, because that will help you to work out your hexagon later. If you don't have that little bulk, it's not going to ease into a hexagon. All right, so that's just a quick one to show you how it goes. But for now, what you've done is row 1, 2, and 3. 3 rows. Now, really, this is a repeat row, like I said before, but in your next row, like in this row here, you did your corner and then a cluster and 1 and then a corner. In the next row that you're going to do, you'll do your corner, cluster 1, cluster 2, and then another corner. So you now have 2 spaces. All right, you now have 2 spaces. So I'm going to start you off, and then you're going to head off on your own and finish this round, and then come back and we'll have a chat. All right, so what we've done is we've slip stitched in this corner, we chained 1, turn your work. So round 4 is being worked on the wrong side of your work. Don't worry about that yet. Just slip stitch into the corner, pull a loop through like so, chain 1, 2, and 3. I loosened that this time because I've got them too tight all the time and it drives me batty. It's a lot looser. 2 double crochets in the corner, 1 and 2. All right, when you start a row, it's always going to be like that. Chain 3, 2 double crochets, and then you're going to jump into the very next side spaces. All right, so the first one, 3 double crochet in that first side space. Jump into your next side space, 3 double crochets in there. A corner set in the corner of 3 double crochets, 1, 2, and 3. Chain 2 and 3 double crochets, all in the same corner. All right, super easy. I'm going to pop a stitch marker here just to do a chat. Now I only put it there in case you walk away and you pull at your work and it comes undone. All right, so this round I want you to do on your own, and what you need to do is put 1 set of 3 double crochets in that space, 1 set of 3 double crochets in that space, a corner cluster set in your corner. All right, so 1, 1 and 2 in there, 1, 1 and 2 in there, 1, 1, 2 in there, 1, 1, and when you get to the very last set of this round, meet me there and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, 1 set each along the sides and 1 double set in the corner all the way in the round. Get to this very last space here and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. Now what you would have is, let me get you a close-up so you can have a look. You would have, just ignore that very first set that you did because it's part of a corner. So, well, no, we'll include it. That's half of your corner. And then you would have 1, 2 sides and a corner. 1, 2 sides and a corner. 1, 2 sides and a corner, and the same all the way through. You need to have 6 corners. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're going to have the 6th one once we complete it. That's going to be the same throughout the rest of your pattern, all right? So make sure you have 6 corners. The sides will change in every round. In every round, they will go up by 1, all right? You put 1 set there in that round, and in this round we put 2. The next round will have 3. The next round will have 4, and so on and so on. All right. Now I'm telling you this because I want to show you one thing, and then you're going to head off on your own and do a few more rounds yourself. So from here, I did my last, there's a set 1, set 2, and now I'm about to jump into the corner with 3 double crochets, chain 1 and 2, and slip stitch to join, like so. Remove your stitch marker, chain 1, turn your work again, slip stitch into the corner, pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook, chain 1, 2 and 3, stitch marker in your stitch right there, in the top 2 loops there. Complete a corner, or half a corner I should say, with 2 double crochets. Hold it there. Pop your stitch marker in that loop for a moment, because now I'm not going to show you any more for this part of the tutorial. All right, I will show you a color change in a moment. Not right now. I'm going to show you that when you return, because what I want you to do, and so far we're on our right side of our work, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. Yeah, you need to do another 6 more rounds exactly the same way as we repeated the last round, except in every round, once again, you will go up by 1. In the last round, we only had 1 and 2 clusters in that side section, and now we're going to have 1, 2, 3. The round after that, 1, 2, 3, 4. The round after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so your job now, from now on, is to do another 6 more rounds. That's all sizes. Do 6 more rounds. Meet me back here and we will talk about color change. Now, if you need to change your color now or at the end of any other round, then move to this time right here that you see up on the screen there, and that will show you how to do a color change, and then come back here and get your instructions of what you need to do. Actually, you don't need the instructions because I just mentioned it. All you need to do is do 6 more rounds in the same way you did this round, making sure you are adding the extra set because you're going to have extra spaces before your corner. All right. And also, this is going to happen. It's going to get more prominent. It's going to be like this when you are finished your 10 rounds. It's not wrong. That is normal. Okay. And it's normal because when we do want to close our piece up to make the hexagon, we need the space to do that. All right, we need that ease. It's a little bit of an ease coming through. We need it. Otherwise, the hexagon won't work. It's like a mini hexagon there. Now, before you go, let me show you what I've done. This is one side already done. Oh, let me bring this out a bit so you can have a look. This is one side already done. It's not complete. See, it's still open. I've got some stitch markers there. We'll talk about that when it's time to do that part. All right, so your 10 rounds, once you've done your 10 rounds, you will be right there. All right, and as you can see, I'm working on 2 at the same time because I like to make sure I'm doing 2 at the same time. So when I get to the end of this color and I change to this, I will stop. I will just do one set, stop with that one, and then do the second side. Not necessary for you to do that. You can complete the whole front if you want and then do the second side afterwards, or you can do it this way. Now, the reason I do it this way is because once I change color, it keeps me knowing, or should I say helps me to know what round I'm up to. When you get to round 10, you'll be changing to your new colour. So there's nothing worse than you complete the whole piece and then you start a new one and you accidentally change it at round 9. Then you complete that piece and realise all your rounds are off and it doesn't look right, okay? But if you are changing colours in every round or every second round, then you can do whatever you like, yeah? But I think when you're changing colours from the one round to the next, and notice how I'm trying to be as symmetrical in colours as I can, that piece there will be a symmetrical exactly the same way. Now you're looking at this thinking, are you sure it's going to look like that? Trust me, it will. All right, that is the start of it. All right, just wanted to show you this because I wanted you to see what it's going to look like once we get to the 10th round. It will look like that. That will be your 10th round. All right, so let's remove this guy. So your job now, super easy. I might do that first side for you. Just that side right there. No, let's try that side right. Hello, Mary, get in the right space. We'll just complete that side right there. And we'll pop it on fast until we get to that corner. All right, so that's that. Now, the tip is, if you're not sure which one a corner is, pop a stitch marker in every corner you come to. All right, if you're new to crochet and you can't work out the corner, once you complete a corner, you pop a little stitch marker and use the small ones so you don't get confused, or use a different color or something so you don't get confused of your beginning stitch marker. You don't want to get confused with that one. All right, so whenever you get to a corner, just keep doing your one set. When you get to a stitch marker, you think, oh, good, corner. Okay, then do one set, oh, good, corner, and so on. All right, but make sure that every side has the right amount of sets, or your hexagon will start to be misshaped. So here, you know, you've got 3 spaces, you need 3 sets. In the next round, you'll have 4 spaces, you need 4 sets. All right, and in every corner is exactly the same, so you won't have any issues. All right, so we have done 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. You need to do another 6 rounds if you want to change colours on the 10th round. All right, now if you want to change colours in between, once again, go to that time there and you can start changing colours now. But for the rest of us, continue in that manner, get to the 10th round, meet me back here, and we'll talk about changing colours. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the 10th round. And just a quick heads up on how you can count your rounds. You go to the first corner that you have, or any corner, and you're counting these corner rows. So you've got one corner there, this is where we started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So I've done 10 rounds. Hopefully you've done your 10 rounds as well. Couple of tips I'm going to give you now real quickly to learn how to fold your hexagon before you even do anything else. You're not folding it from points to points, or opposite corners. You're folding it along the shortest edge. Okay, so from one side of one stitch marker to the very next one, not your opposite one, but from there to there. So you fold it like that, hold it there, turn it that way, and then you marry up all your corners or your stitch markers if you've got your stitch markers in your corners. And that, my dears, is the start of your hexagon. All right, I say the start, you have a long way to go yet, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to show you real quickly what I would like for you to do. On top of us doing a quick colour change now, I'm going to show you what you need to do. Yeah, this is the first 10 rows of my hexagon cardigan. all right, and of yours or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, you can do what I'm doing right now real quickly. Open it up again, the shortest side. Yep, measure it. Measure your shortest side. It is like 17 centimeters or roughly around, I don't know, almost 7 inches. So it's about there. It's about 17. It's about 6 3/4 inches if you want to use inches. If you go further in, it gets a little bigger. Okay. So, but I just want you to measure from the front there to there for now. All right. So it's roughly 17 centimeters and nearly 3/4 of an inch. I'm sorry, 6 3/4 of an inch. Get it right, Mary. So that's just because I want you to work on measurement in a moment, but not now. And if numbers, see, I've already done it wrong. I already folded it wrong. You don't fold it like that. You fold it from short edge to short edge, right? You don't need to know this now because you're not going to do that for a very long time. Because what I want you to do right now is 2 things. To get where I am now, and as you can see those stitch markers there, my hexagon cardigan is the wrong way around. You're wondering, how do you know? You don't, right? Both sides are exactly the same. But just to show you that that is my sleeve. Can we bring this out a little bit more? I think we can. Just that tiny bit more. There we go. That's about the best I can do. That's half of my sleeve. It's not even the full sleeve yet. It's only half of my sleeve. But it is the measurement of the circumference of my arm, okay? Folded, of course. I'm not that small. I wish I was that small. I don't. It'll be too small, right? But what I want you to do now before you do anything else, and even before we do our colour change, do this. Alrighty guys, here we are, ready to take some measurements. Now it's very basic, very, very basic, yeah? Grab your measuring tape and wrap it around the widest part of your arm. Well, wrap it properly, don't leave it too loose. Wrap it around the widest part of your arm. Don't leave it too loose, don't leave it too tight. That's the measurement you need for the very next step, yeah? Head over to the workstation and I'll show you exactly what you need to do with that measurement. Terrific. Now you know your arm circumference measurement. Okay, now we'll talk about this. If you're no good with numbers, we'll talk about you in a moment. But for anyone else who is trying to make their hexagon cardigan to suit their measurement, all right, so what you came up with, let's say that your arm measurement was, I'm going to do it this way so you can see the inches. Let's say your arm measurement was 30 centimeters in the round. So you put that around your arm like so, not like that, like so, and that's the size of your arm. Now you wanted that, like I said in the video before, your widest arm measurement that you can find, right? So let's say it worked out to be 30 centimeters or roughly 12 inches. What I want you to do is add another 8 centimeters to that. All right, so really you need to do 38 centimeters or 15 inches. So really, let's do this, open it up so you can see what I'm doing. I'll do it with the small one as well. So that's where you were, yeah. Open it up. From there to there, you need to make yours 38 centimeters or 15 inches, all right? So you need to make it to suit your measurement. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, yours was 26. We'll make it an odd one on purpose, right? Well, even, but we'll make it an odd one. 25. Let's do that. So let's say yours is 25. Add another 8 centimeters, which is what? 33? I can't remember. Anyway, add another 8 centimeters, right? So yours will be that much. And if yours is 20, add another 8 centimeters. It's 28. Yours will be that much. Now you're wondering, what are you talking about? Keep doing your rounds and round until your lower edge or your straight edge measures whatever you came up with. All right. Now, if all this is all too confusing for you, have a look up on the screen there right now. These are rough measurements that I've given you here so that you can actually use these measurements if you are struggling to work numbers out for yourself, all right? These are rough measurements. Otherwise, come back here, work on your own measurements right here, right now. Keep doing your rows over and over and over again until when you open it up, it measures your measurement. Now, I actually did just that, and I found, and this is another thing that you need to consider, this is the right side of my work. I've taken out that little blue, well, I never had it in this to begin with, but I have a blue stitch marker in the other one. I've taken that one out. Make sure that your tail is on the inside of your work and your last round is on the right side of your work. How can you tell the right side to the wrong side? Well, this is actually the right side of my work now because the tail's on the inside. Yeah. Bring up your piece here and have a look at your last round. Firstly, it does look a little different. It's very bubbled on that side and neat on the other. But if you can't work that out either, hold your work to you. This is a little tip. When you are looking at your stitches, the top of your stitch, if it's on the wrong side of your work, will be facing backwards. But if you worked on the right side of your work and you're staring at it, the top of your stitch, you'll be able to see it's kind of facing forward. So what I want you to do, and here's where you need to focus, and you may need to play with measurements doing this as well, if you want to. It's not necessary, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I want you, on the last round, to land on the right side of your work, which is the same as that section there. That's got to be the right side. Now, I'm on the wrong side, okay? This is a tip. I can either, because I've made mine relatively big, mine's about between 8 and 9 centimetres bigger than my measurement. I can either undo that last row, which is very sad for me because it took me a while to do it, round that is, or I can add another round to make sure it lands on the right side of my work. All right, that's a little tip that you don't even have to follow. You can leave it on the wrong side if you like. Doesn't matter. Entirely up to you. There's no rules because this work goes this way and that way and this way and that way. So it doesn't really matter which is the wrong or right side. It's just that I'm a little bit finicky and I know that that's the right side and this last round is the wrong side. So I'm going to change mine. I'm either going to take it off, which I haven't decided yet. I haven't measured it for a long time, so I can't remember whether it's too loose. I think it is loose. Or add another round. Okay, that is neither here nor there. When we come back for part 2, you will be able to work that out then. Oh, that's right. We are actually finished part 1, but not yet. So these are the little tips that you need to follow. I don't know, I've got my stuff everywhere. Because what I want you to do real quickly, we're going to talk roughly, very fast about colour change. Now, so here, let's remove that stitch marker for a minute. I'm sorry, I lost my hook there. I had to go and find it. All right, let's just assume that we're on my last two chains, yeah? So 1 and 2, and I was going to slip stitch into the stitch with my stitch marker, like normal. Pull the loop through. I didn't do that, but doesn't matter. Do a chain 1 like normal. What I want you to do is cut your work. Now I'm not going to do that because I want to reuse this yarn. All right, this is a second piece. I need to actually a third piece, right? So I want to reuse this yarn. In the same corner, you're going to add your new color, but first you need to flip your work. All right, because remember we are turning our work. So just cut your yarn, pop your hook into the corner, grab your new color, which is an absolute mess here. I'm doing well. Pop it on your hook, pull the loop through, grabbing your tail, passing it forward, chaining 1, 2 and 3, pop your stitch marker in, and in actual fact you are starting your round like normal. 2 and 3 in that round. The only thing you need to watch for is this the right side of your work? I've removed the stitch marker. No, yes it is, because the tail is on the back, which means just grab your tail and pop it on the wrong side of your work. No tail showing here. Keep that tail, by the way. Keep your tail. If you've cut yours, make sure you have a stitch marker in the front to show you your right side and your wrong side. I removed mine because I was going to give you that tip anyways. Jump into your next corner with your your next space, like that. Now let's say, and don't do this, this is just something I want to show you. You come to the end of the round, don't do this. This is a naughty trick which I do often. This is a little tip, not a good tip. Don't do it, because this is how you knot your work. I'm going to come around here and just pretend like I finished my row. Yeah, don't do this. She says as she keeps doing it. Right, so we're doing 3 double crochets in our last side. Gee, I'm fast, aren't I? I finished the round real quickly. She's very naughty. You're going to jump into that corner to continue doing your corner. Sometimes this can look like a chain in between. Hold it open. Make sure you are not going into that second section. Yeah, it's just the way we slip stitched and joined. Oops, let's try that again. 3 times there. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and 2. Whoops, I nearly did another one. And then slip stitch into the stitch with your stitch marker, like so. Chain 1, turn, and start again. All right, that is how, look at that. Don't you love it? That is how you do your color change. Now, I just wanted to show that last bit because I'm not going to sit here and do this next, few rounds with you, or how many rounds it's going to be, because you will need to do this yourself for your size, which I mentioned before. Oh, I better take that undone and put it back in later. In actual fact, I'm taking this piece undone. I'm not using this piece for my Hexagon cardigan, and I'll tell you why, because this doesn't want to work for me lately, my Zoom. I don't know what's going on, because that's the original, that's done, yeah. I've actually already, and that's why I had to do another piece, 3/4 of the way through my second bit, all right, my second side. So you need to keep going until you get to your measurement. Now let's say my sleeve measurement, and here we go, this is one to work on, measures, 39 centimeters, right? It actually measured 32 centimeters. And then let's say 31 centimeters. And then I added an extra 8 centimeters. So mine now measures 39. If that was my arm measurement, okay. It's not working for me today, the Zoom. So all you need to focus on now is to color change if you want to. Don't color change if you don't want to. If you don't want to color change, chain 1, turn your work like normal, keep going until you get to the measurement of your arm circumference. Add another 8 centimeters. All right, make sure you add that 8 centimeters. Once you have your 8 centimeters, pop stitch markers across here. You'll need some more, all right? So pop some more, just pop all your stitch markers across one side of what looks like an armhole, an arm length. She's got the armhole on the brain today, guys. I've said it a million times. I've deleted it off the camera, off the video a few times. Anyway, there you go. So you've got all your stitch markers in there, yeah? When you come back, we'll talk about what's happening here. We'll talk about what's happening in the front, and then we'll talk about what's happening for length. And then we'll also talk about ribbing. All right, so go ahead, do your rounds to get to your measurement of your arm circumference measurement, or you can use my measurements that you see right here. That's the amount of rows you need for those measurements. Way too exciting, way too exciting. All right, so go ahead and do the amount of rounds you need to suit your arm circumference measurement. Meet us back here in about 2 weeks' time, and not the Thursday coming, but the Thursday afterwards, or roughly around that time. We will do part 2 of our hexagon cardigan, which will be attaching the sleeve and continuing on the front area a little bit, and we'll work on the rest then. All right, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to join us on our lives at 4 p.m. Wednesday afternoons, 10 a.m. Saturday mornings, Melbourne, Australia time. Marry that up with your country. And don't forget, guys, to like, subscribe and share. Look, we're doing so much on the channel at the moment. Share the love so that all your friends and family can create this gorgeous, beautiful hexagon cardigan. Good luck all with your rounds, and ciao for now.